Well, welcome everyone to Steve Savant's Money, the name of the game. I'm your host, Steve Savant, syndicated financial columnist and money killer commentator. On today's show, reverse mortgages for retirement income, part 4 in our series on your home mortgage is your number one IOU with nationally recognized mortgage expert and author, Steve Walsh. Welcome to the 4th segment, Steve.
Glad to be here.
Well, we are in mortgage heaven here. If you are a geriatric, at least 62, you should be watching the next 10 minutes here because it could change your life. Now, Steve, a lot of people come into retirement, they go, hey, I got Social Security, that's guaranteed.
Right.
I really don't have a lot of other assets, but I got my home and I pretty much tried to be dutiful and pay it down before I got into retirement. My preceding generation paid down their mortgage and didn't take one into their retirement, and I kind of want to do the same thing. But I need money.
Yeah.
Let's talk about reverse for income on this segment only, just income.
Yeah, 2008 caused a big problem. You lived through it, I lived through it, but it hurt a lot of people. Mm-hmm. And so a lot of people are taking mortgages into retirement, and they call us up every day, and they're in shock that they're in this position. Right. And when you look at a client we have a lot of clients who are over 65, and their debt to income, that's the percentage going towards mortgage, is between 25 and 40%. And so that means before they get a penny, 40% is going to their mortgage. That just doesn't work. That just doesn't work. And so, are there any options? What can we do about that? This is where the reverse mortgage comes in. Okay, when I first saw this come on the market, we must have taken a bad boy attitude towards it because FINRA, for people who are licensed and security licensed, this was a non-starter. Yep. And now they said you can only bring it up as a last resort. Well, the problem was after 2008, this became the last resort. I have no other place to go. Right. I have no real assets. I only have Social Security. So what can I do for me? So what can it do for me? I want to talk about the tax aspects first, then I'm going to let you do your mortgage side of this equation. Got it. Think about it. This is a loan from your home. So it's an equity line of credit. They're giving it. They're figuring out how long you live. Right. They're going to amortize that number based on so it's age determinant. It's age determinant. Right. And they're going to give you an ongoing stream of income. And that income, because it's a loan, is not a 1040 item. It's not going to show up on your 1040 for taxes. So that comes tax-free. And by the way, if all you had was a HECM reverse mortgage and your Social Security would more than likely not be taxed at all, especially because of that income. So you could be getting 2 areas of income resources that don't tax. Sign me up. I'm too young right now, but yeah, it's exactly that. You can keep your income a little bit lower so you don't have to pay so much in taxes. You can leave your nest egg there, leave it alone so you don't have to tap it. You can wait for opportunities to sell. Your stock goes up, has a good run, maybe you pull some money out, but when the stock market is down, you can kind of let that money sit in there. So there are a lot of tax strategies that are associated with this program. So, well, think about this now. You have to be 62. It's got to be your prime residence. And I say this, even though it's a tongue-in-cheek, you do have, first of all, you do have a mortgage. You just don't have a mortgage payment. Remember, we don't have a payment. Now, in reverse mortgage, we're actually taking income every month. Right. If I was a stealthy kind of a savvy person, I hope I am, at age 62, I have a lot of clients who say, Steve, I'm taking my Social Security because, this government's going to hell in a handbasket, and I'm going to take my money while the getting's good. Well, okay. Right. But are you using it for income or because you think in 8 years, between now, you're 62 and your 70th birthday, the government's going to default on Social Security? Well, no, not really. I just need some income. Well, you're going to get a 25% discount. You could take a reverse mortgage off your home and buy 8 years of income to let you wait to take your Social Security so you can max it at age 70. Defer. I'm talking about serious. Right. Now, from a mortgage point of view, now I'm going to listen. We're going back to your side. All right, mortgage point of view. All right, I just said the message. Everybody watching here on our audience goes, Steve, I love this idea. It has tax issues. It has cash flow issues. I love all this. All right, mortgage. Now I'm going to the mortgage now. What's it like to get one of these? Is it a conventional mortgage, or am I going to run through the ringer of bureaucracy? Well, you still have to qualify. They want to see there were some changes made in 2010 through 2012. They wanted to make sure a borrower could pay because if you still have a mortgage that you could afford the taxes and insurance. So you have to have some income, the ability to pay those two, so that you don't end up losing. Okay, let me just make sure. They're making sure. Okay, let's make sure about this now. Right. I want to make sure. So when we do a reverse mortgage, we still have the obligation of property taxes and home insurance.
That's not going away. It's not folded into the loan.
No.
You're paying the cash. And one of the HECM home equity conversion mortgage protocols is I have to have income to pay for that.
Exactly. So yeah. So but it's not a bad position to be in, isn't it?
No.
Our clients with a 45, 50% debt to income, it's now you're talking about, can you come up with, here in Arizona, it's not that bad. In California, a little crazy, but a couple $100 a month.
Right.
It's a great opportunity.
Yeah, I'm really interested because, you're looking at, if you all I have to pay is home insurance and property taxes, and that's what they're looking for. That's why I'm going to need income for that. And by the way, you might, and if you're an HOA, they're going to look at that as well. You got to be able to pay this.
Right.
They don't want it to be assigned and leaned onto your property. So I'm looking at a way to generate income. I'm going to have to go through the conventional mortgage application. It's a mountain. It's a paperwork.
Not that bad. Come on now.
Is it?
Come on. It's not that bad.
Okay. And when I do this, what are the fees I'm paying for this luxury of pulling my own equity position out of my own house?
It's not cheap.
Good?
It's not cheap.
No.
They're not cheap. $10,000-$15,000. They're a pricey. They're a pricey. But you have to look at it in relative terms, right? But you have no more payment. So yeah, they cost a little bit, but you're buying insurance, and that's where it gets expensive, and that's where it gets interesting. That insurance, that FHA
So you have to do the math
insurance.
to make sure it's really a good, suitable issue for you.
Right, for the long term.
Right.
And so a lot of it, you're not just financial, you're not just, I wouldn't do it if you're deathly ill and you're going to, pass away in 5 years. It's a long-term strategy. That's what it's really all about.
Well, you said something really
strategy.
interesting because, a lot of those baby boomer seniors are taking mortgages into their retirement. They never thought they were going to have to pay this kind of tuition for their kids. They didn't think they were going to have to pay long-term care for their parents. And now they're weaseled in the middle of this. And we all went through the 2008, whether your 401k got hit or your house equity got hit. We've all lost on that issue. So now that we're coming back, you're saying, wow, I like what you said, the combo. I don't have a mortgage payment and I'm getting new income now, tax-free.
Right.
That's great.
Okay, so what do people have a problem with? Well, I want to leave the house to my kids. That's the one, the one thing we hear quite a bit of. But I think the kids will be happy, that you, and again, I've talked to people about this who have had experience with this, where the kids didn't have to borrow money, the parents didn't have to borrow money from the kids, go to the kids, hey, I can't afford my mortgage payment, can you help me out? And prior to this program, what options did we have? Home equity lines of credit. So if someone had come to me years ago, I would have said, let's just do a HELOC, a home equity line of credit. Let's just take a couple $100,000 out and put that in a drawer for emergencies. But then a light bulb went off. I guess it was 2 weeks ago. I met this guy, Steve, over lunch. He told me about an appreciating line of credit. I'm like, what? So now I get my $200,000 line of credit, but it goes up by 6, 7, 8% a year? How's that work? And so we did some research, and we found out that we found the product that I think every retiree should get. The sooner the better, ASAP.
But you have
because
to be 62.
rates are going up. Yeah, I'm not 62. Maybe I can get some fake ID. I don't know. But I'm not 62 yet. But as soon as I turn 62, if this product is still available, it's incredible. So here, what are the problems with a home equity line of credit? Well, you have to qualify for them. As you borrow money from them, guess what? You get a new payment. Awesome. So now you have a new payment that keeps going up as you draw from it. And there's always a potential the bank shuts down the credit line. Hey, your house has gone down in value. We're closing the line. We get it all the time. Hey, it's been 10 years. It's a balloon payment. We want our money back. So you miss a payment, they shut the line. So there are all these ways they can shut the line. You go to the HECM, and now that $200,000 credit line starts appreciating 6, 7, 8% a year. And so if you don't touch it, it goes up, to 210, 220, 240, 230. If you don't touch it, you can have a 4 or 5, a $1.2, $1.4 million credit line down the road. That's a lot better than my little $200,000 line with a payment. This is a credit line with no payment. It's an amazing product, and to get into the details here is a little tricky.
We'll get into some of it next segment because we want to talk about that for sure. When I'm thinking about, most people are looking for, they know their Social Security is going to get taxed by the qualified plan. Right. They know their Social Security can be taxed, even with municipal bond income. How about that? I thought it was free. I guess it's not. My capital gain treatment of my non-qualified funds, if that flows over to the Social Security, that gets taxed.
Right.
So there's not too many vehicles. This is one of them. Right. Reverse mortgage is not. That income is not going to be treated as income for Social Security taxation. Huge issue for seniors. I might be able to live on my house and my Social Security.
Yep.
No taxes. I love that. Don't forget to watch our next segment, Mortgages for Seniors, part 5 of our series on your home mortgage is your number one IOU. And keep in mind, before moving forward with any of the ideas on our show, always check with your tax consultant, legal counsel, or financial advisor. You've been watching Steve Savant's Money, the name of the game.